There was another Arsenal story I wanted to speak to you about. There was a lot of reports yesterday in Spain that Zubimendi, Arsenal, Real Sociedad were very close, in their words, to agreeing a deal for a move in the summer. Not for January, but a move in the summer. What's your understanding about Arsenal's interest in Zubimendi? And is there any possibility of a pre-agreement before the summer for the midfielder?
No, I don't think anything's agreed yet, but I think if you were to sort of rank Arsenal's two top midfield targets, even above the links with Onana, it would absolutely be Zubimendi and Douglas Luiz. I think those would be the two, if they just had carte blanche, that they would move for. And we know that they've tried for Zubimendi in the past. He's very happy at Sociedad. They're having an incredible season. So I would expect him not to pre-agree anything and to assess where he stands in the summer. But the Arsenal interest hasn't gone away, but there's also nothing pre-agreed to my knowledge. And obviously with Douglas Luiz, it's sort of a similar situation, only in the sense that Aston Villa are flying so high at the moment that it's going to be very difficult to prize him away as well. So I'd expect Arsenal to try for Zubimendi in the summer, but I am told pretty categorically that there's nothing that has been pre-agreed at this stage. And regarding the Onana situation, I know a lot of people wondered whether anything with Arsenal might be possible this window, and whether something cut price may materialise because of Everton's financial situation. Not necessarily my understanding either. And I know this sounds kind of doom and gloom, but again, it's an indication that Arsenal are not looking to drop money in this window at that magnitude, not for Luiz, not for Zubimendi, and not for Onana. But it doesn't mean that they're not concrete targets being worked on for the summer. But with Onana, Everton don't know where they stand at the moment. They are appealing robustly against their points deduction. Even with a new one, they might still stay up in the Premier League. And if you're Arsenal or other clubs, you might wait and see how that materialises, because if they go down, like when Leicester went down, there's deals to be done. And if they stay up, the valuation probably doesn't change compared to what Everton might be considering now. But this isn't a 40 million deal. It might not even be a 50 million deal, because Everton paid 33 million to Lille for Onana, and therefore they're going to be looking to get as close to double as they possibly can. So I would say 55 is maybe the minimum for Onana. And it wouldn't surprise me if Everton stay up, or given they're in the Premier League at the moment and it's mid-season, if they're looking at 60 million. So this is the kind of challenge right now. It's not a buyer's market. And anyone can sell you a dream, and anyone can tell you that your club is going to buy, and anyone can get you excited about a player. But wait and see, in most cases with most of these links that are longer term links, what happens in January, because I think very little. But then pick it up against the summer, because you can be concretely working on a name like Zubimendi, knowing it's only for the summer and not for now. And that is the situation with Arsenal, but nothing is pre-agreed and nothing advanced at this point. But we know that they've liked Zubimendi for a long while. So we definitely can't rule that out as potentially happening. But the player is entirely focused on the club. He's delighted he stayed. He's delighted he's playing. He's delighted he's in the knockout stages of the Champions League. And he might be on course for a historic season. And a bit like Osimhen says with Napoli, even though he's kind of predetermined he wants to move to the Premier League in the summer, the players at the moment are not really thinking that far ahead. Osimhen knows his decision, so he's calm. And now he's focused on Napoli when he returns from AFCON. And Zubimendi may know what he wants to do in the summer, but again, he's calm. Why? Because he's not going to go in the next 7 days. So he's focused once again on Sociedad and the Champions League. And that's not what Arsenal fans want to hear, but it is the reality of the situation.
Yeah, I don't see that being a deal that's done for January. But again, you look at the other options that Arsenal are linked with. Zubimendi, in my opinion, is levels above them. And I know they want to sign now because they want to try and win the league now. But I wouldn't, if you just look at Onana, good player. But if the choices are, just say hypothetically, if the choices were Onana now or Zubimendi in the summer, I think if you're an Arsenal fan and you care about not just the here and now, you'll wait until the summer to get Zubimendi. And that for me, and that's not a disrespect to Onana, I just think Zubimendi is a different level of player compared to Onana. And that's where sometimes the need and want for instant gratification is required, if that makes sense. And I always remember Me and my brothers, when we all turned 13, we all got the same birthday present. Obviously different years, we're all different ages. My brother got it. We got like, my dad bought us a ring, like a nice ring, and we got like, it was the first time ever we were given money for our birthdays. So my big brother went to, I don't know, JD or Foot Locker and bought some new trainers and new clothes. It was great. I did the same. When my brother below me, the year after me turned 13, he didn't want to wait until the Saturday for my mum or dad to take us down to the shopping centre and do it. So he went to the local shop and bought his clothes with it. But the selection wasn't as good. But in his panic to like go and get it now, he ended up with some really rubbish trainers and some clothes that weren't very good. And sometimes if you that need for patience is key. So that's what I emphasize to Arsenal fans, United fans, Chelsea fans, is if you can't get the right target, wait. It will serve you better. Imagine where Liverpool would be if that summer where they didn't get Van Dijk. Imagine if they'd gone and signed Maguire instead and hadn't waited as an example. Wait, be patient. It, generally speaking, works out to be a lot better. There was a super chat that came in here from AJ. He says, hi, Ben. Any outgoings from Arsenal?
Yeah, I think they'd like to get outgoings, that's for sure. It's just that it can be quite challenging. Cedric and El Neni are probably the two that they would like to get done. With Cedric, we know there's been interest from Turkey. With El Neni, it's a little bit harder because he's a free agent in the summer. So some of the Saudi clubs, for example, and Turkish ones are contemplating just pre-agreeing something and then utilizing free agency because it's obviously going to be cheaper unless Arsenal just decide that they want to offload and not take a fee. So that presents a little bit of an opportunity for Arsenal if they're flexible and they just want to clear the wage space and the squad space ultimately. But El Neni's not a given. I think that there's a fair chance that Cedric gets done between now and the end of the window. And obviously, Emil Smith-Rowe's been the big kind of talking point at Arsenal, along with Nketiah. With Nketiah, as I revealed a few weeks back, the Palace interest is genuine, but Arsenal's position is that they don't want to sell and they value him as a squad player. And depth is going to be too important to Arsenal in the second half of the season. A lot will depend on, is there anyone out there striker-wise that Arsenal genuinely want right now? And if so, that could change the situation with Nketiah. But if Palace come calling, even though there's a reasonably clear valuation on Nketiah of somewhere in the region of 35 million, I would expect bids to be rejected because Arteta wants to keep Nketiah. So unless anyone comes in, that won't be an outgoing as far as I'm told. With Smith Rowe, we know that West Ham have tried and had a loan rejected. Aston Villa interest is still there as well. But all indications are that, again, Arsenal want the depth. Arsenal want to keep the player. The player wants to fight for his place. So something dramatic will have to change there. And also it would have to be a big offer and a permanent offer if anything is to change as far as Smith Rowe is concerned. So there might be some Arsenal outgoings, but as I've outlined, there's those four names there and each of them have their complications.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally get where you're coming from there. And I'm not throwing shade on my brother's style, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. He just bought a pair of trainers. And this was in an era where Reebok Classics were the ones. You remember that, Ben, similar age to me. And he just bought an old janky pair because the shop was an average sports shop. And he was then gutted when he was getting teased. And I told him, if he'd have waited till Saturday, we'd have gone down to Selborne Walk, which was in Walthamstow, gone to JD and got a nice pair. But he didn't listen. He rushed. Don't rush. What is it they say? Like, there's a saying someone put in here, and it really does make sense. That's it. Spend cheap, pay twice. I like that. It's really good, and that's what can happen to a lot of